My name is Karin Bado. I am the venture coach at the Stuart Clark Center for Entrepreneurship. I will be your presenter, your host today. I'm just gonna give you guys a few minutes for people to keep coming in. You can keep your microphone off and remain behind your camera, or maybe you can put your camera on if you want to keep me company. I always feel like it's so different when I'm doing the webinar and it's only myself with the camera on, but the decision is up to you. I won't force you to put your camera on, but you are welcome to do that if you feel comfortable enough. Let us know in the chat from what faculty you are currently attending school. If you are a student at University of Manitoba, what program are you taking? We would like to get to know you more and probably catch up with you later on after the webinar. So use the chat to introduce yourself, to say hi. Let me know what is your favorite fall drink? Let me know if you're already feeling fall. Right now, the temperatures are kind of very low in the morning. And in my head, I miss summer, but I'm also happy that it's fall because I get to drink my favorite drinks. So yeah, use the chat to engage with us, to let us know where you are. How did you hear about us? Give us a few more minutes before we begin. One more minute before we begin, please use the chat to introduce yourself. We would like to get to know you a little bit better. What faculty, what program are you taking? How did you hear about us? Are you subscribing to our emails? Are you following us on Instagram? We just want to know the details. And we're gonna start at 11:33. One more minute before. Okay, perfect. It's 11:33. I think we're going to begin. We have 17 participants so far. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. I am very excited to be presenting, to be hosting this webinar, Think Like an Entrepreneur. Without further ado, we're going to dive into the presentation. Again, there's some in-house rules. We want to make sure that you keep your video optional. If you want to put your camera on, feel free to do that. But please remain muted throughout the webinar. We just want to keep everything focused and minimize distraction. But feel free to use the chat to engage. Feel free to use the Q&A sections if you have any questions throughout the webinar. You don't have to wait till the end to ask your questions. Just use the chat or the Q&A portion of your bar and bring in your questions. They will be answered at the end. The webinar is also recorded. It will be posted on the website. We want to make sure that you have access to this incredible resource and give you that option to go back and review some of the material that will be discussed, will be shown to you today. If you are not following us on social media, this is the moment for you to take your cell phone, to give us a follow. We have a LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter account. This is where you will know what's happening faster than anyone else. Like this is the time of social media, digital marketing. So we are very active on our social media platforms. Make sure you follow us, make sure you like, you share. Maybe you know someone in your network, you have a friend or family member who are also interested to learn about entrepreneurship, to get the tools they need to succeed in that journey. So feel free to share, to repost everything that we post, and tag us on the post, and give us a shout out. So now, without further ado, I'm just going to show you a quick video introducing the Stu Clark Center for Entrepreneurship.
Let's talk about entrepreneurship. It's the light bulb moment from your first big idea. It's the decision to set out on a new path. It's the realization that entrepreneurship starts with a spark, and that spark starts here. At the Stu Clark Center, we're here to nurture your ideas and help spark your entrepreneurial spirit. How? How about competitive opportunities to free your inner entrepreneur? Advice from venture coaches who have walked the walk, or some of the best networking events you'll find on campus. You'll find it all right here. By focusing on education, awareness, community, coaching, and connection, we build strong relationships with our students and do everything we can to help them on their journey to self-starting. At the Stu Clark Center, we thrive when you thrive. No idea is too big or too small. The Stu Clark Center is your one-stop shop for everything you need to start your journey. So why not start today?
I really, really like that sentence. Why not start today? There's no time when it comes to entrepreneurship, whether you are a student, you are staff, you are a professional. It doesn't matter where you stand in your journey. It's never too late to become an entrepreneur. And a little bit about myself. I am the venture coach here at the Stu Clark Center for Entrepreneurship. I've started the position back in November, so almost coming a year now. But prior my current role, I was working as a financial analyst and a financial officer for the past 7 years. I have graduated with a major in accounting. So you may wonder why now, why is the venture coach coming with that accounting background and now stepping into entrepreneurship? Because there's no time. I feel in my journey, I was drawn to entrepreneurs. I've always been a creative person, and really started to learn more about becoming an entrepreneur. I have founded, along with my family, with my sisters, e-commerce where we sell retail skincare. I also start my own consulting business as a business consultant. I work with women entrepreneurs, Black women owners who are also looking to learn how to really run successfully their business. And I'm also working on the side on a startup. So I'm a creative. Luckily, I have that background in accounting to really help me push further in my journey. And I really hope to be a support for you in that journey as well. Again, I'm a free resource available to students across faculty here at the University of Manitoba. And I would love to have that conversation with you if you have interest in entrepreneurship. And again, we are not alone. You are not alone. We have a team here at the Stu Clark Center of Entrepreneurship. We have a team of passionate individuals who are willing to support you, answer any question you may have. Deborah Jonathan Young is our director. Lindsay Friesen, marketing coordinator. Amy Jones, the program coordinator. And finally, Roxanne Scarf, the office administrator. So we are all here. The office is located in the Drake building on the second floor. We are open Monday to Friday at 8:30 to 4:30. So feel free to come in, say hi. We have a big screen in front of the center where we display some of the activities, some of the program that we have prepared for you. So we would love to see you come by and introduce yourself to us. How you can book a meeting with me. Again, I cannot emphasize on the fact that this is a free service for everyone on campus across faculty. If you are looking to just share your idea, get some feedback on your ideation process, or let's say you are running a business, you need to know what your next step should be, who you should connect to. I would love to have these conversations with you. You can book a meeting with me using the Startup Tree. This is our platform. It's very easy to use, friendly to use. First of all, create your profile. And then the second step is to book a meeting with me. It's directly linked with my calendar, so you'll be able to pick the date and time when you want to meet. You will now have the options to choose an in-person meeting or a virtual meeting. So that's even great, because if you're not comfortable, if you're shy about meeting in person, now you can even book a meeting and conduct those meetings virtually and still move forward with your journey. And if you are missing the physical interactions, now you have the opportunity to come at the office, meet with me and say hi to the rest of the team. So I'm available. If you have any question, don't shy away to book a meeting and discuss with me. Now, this is the best part, because we've worked so hard during the summer to make sure that we address some of the challenges that many of you may be facing in your journey. And we are doing so with providing a very high level type of topic, still touching some of the fundamentals of entrepreneurship, but we will be discussing, fundamental legals for your business, as well as, how to find your target market, how to conduct the proper marketing strategies. So take a look at the website. Everything is already open for registrations. You don't have to wait the last minute. Go in there, reserve your place to come to one of the webinars, and save that in your calendar so that when's the time you are ready to join us. And I'm looking forward to have you for the next webinar. It's a very, very creative one. It's about finding, a process, discovering the process to come up with a business idea. Sometimes people will talk to me, they think, okay, how can I come up with a business idea? Or they'll come to me to say, I don't know where to start. I'm interested in entrepreneurship, but really, how can this even become a reality for me? So I encourage you to register to that one, because I will show you a little tips on how to become a creative thinker, how to come up with the next business ideas. So stay tuned for that one. Share it with friends. If you have people who have those type of questions, they see entrepreneurship, they feel that this is something they have interest into, but they're not quite sure how to come up with a business idea. This is the one you don't want to miss. Perfect. So now it's the time to really talk about, the main point of today's webinar. Think like an entrepreneur. I think it's very, very important for us to understand that entrepreneurship is about having a specific mindset. You probably know some people in business. You probably have mentors, or you look up to entrepreneurs. I don't know, it can be Oprah, it can be Beyonce, it can be the founders of the next startup, or someone you follow on social media, and you always wonder, how can they do that? Like, what does it take for them to be entrepreneurs? Can I become entrepreneurs? Is it a magic? Like, how do you even make that a possibility for yourself? So today we are going to dive into one of the strongest point about entrepreneurship, which is the mindset. And today's agenda, entrepreneurship is a career path for you. You have to understand that you don't have to come from a business background or a specific background to consider entrepreneurship as a career. It's one of the most open career path with little barriers to entrance compared to other careers path that can be very specific. If you are taking a specific university program, you understand what I mean. Entrepreneurship is not like that. It's a very unique pathway, and it's an opportunity that everyone can now tap into. The second point that we're going to discuss today is What is the entrepreneurial mindset? Characteristic of an entrepreneurial mindset, how to develop your entrepreneurial mindset, and finally taking actions to get started and start growing that mindset. I'm just gonna take a quick poll here because I think it's important to know where you guys are in your journey. Like, I don't know, maybe you're just starting off, or you are running a business, or you really want to learn a little bit more about entrepreneurship. So I'm just gonna ask you if you will consider entrepreneurship as a career. So I'm launching the poll right now. I'll give you a few seconds to enter your question. There's no right or wrong answers. It's really just to get to know you a little bit better and probably provide you better feedback and support as well. Perfect. So we have just giving you a few seconds again to enter your question, your answers. Okay, perfect. I'm just gonna end the poll and share the results. Perfect. So 89% of you confirm that you have interest in entrepreneurship. You think of it as a career. So that's great. And if you're not sure, it's okay. That's why we have this moment. We have these webinars. We have this 2 o'clock center for you to support you and maybe bring more clarity as per if this can be a career choice for you or if it's not the right path for you. So it's okay. For those who are not sure, we are still here for you. Perfect. So we're gonna dive into the first point, which is why entrepreneurship. Even before thinking of it as a career, why would you consider entrepreneurship as your next move? Because the world needs entrepreneurs. Everything you see around you from a business perspective is driven by entrepreneurs, by business owners, people who are creative, people who are innovative, always thinking of what the world will look like tomorrow, what the world will look like in the coming years. And it's a very essential point to understand because we are all consuming product that entrepreneurs created, right? Whether it's a business owner or small business owners, entrepreneurs, or very big business, international, multinational size of company, they still came up with an idea. They went through the whole process. They opened up their business and grew to the point of becoming a multinational. So we are all in this world as consumers or business owners. So we talk about entrepreneurship and you may wonder, okay, what is an entrepreneur? What size are we talking about when it comes to entrepreneurship? So you can start a business, maybe work as a solo entrepreneur, 1%, 2%, and you can grow your way to become a bigger company or multinational. So there's no specific size when it comes to entrepreneurship. All business are welcome. All business sizes are welcome. Entrepreneurs is someone who will start a business. You can see yourself as well as a leader, as an entrepreneur, someone who is leading an entrepreneurial unit within a company. So you will see a lot of position now as COO, like Chief Operation Officer, people who are leading transformative changes within a company, still the same mindset, still driven by innovation, still creative thinkers. Even if they don't take the step to open up their business, they can still work within the company, but really drive that company forward and, bring innovative product, innovating ways of functioning, of operating. So you can still consider yourself an entrepreneur in that case. Side hustle. Now, there's a lot of people who are running a business on the side. I consider myself a side hustler because I have a full-time job, but still, I'm always interested to venture and, explore other opportunities. And I consider myself an entrepreneur that way. The second thing that you have to know is just entrepreneurs really take an idea, a product, and they work through the concept of bringing that product or service into market. So if you feel that you are someone very creative, innovative, you're always thinking about what's next, what can be on the market next, what type of service people will be interested to have, you can already start nurturing that entrepreneurial mindset in you. As I've mentioned, we are either consumers or business owners or funders. So you can see here why people are considering entrepreneurship as a career, because it is a lucrative career. It's not easy. It's not your traditional path, but it still have some great benefits. And we discussed the benefits on the last webinars. The videos is up on the website. If you want to go back and review some of the pros and cons of living an entrepreneurial life, I will invite you to go back and check that video. But it is a lucrative business. Once you pass the early stages, once you pass the struggle, you get to a point where you get to contribute to the Canadian economy. And as you can see here, small businesses contribute up to 41% of the national gross domestic product. So that's huge. It means that even one person who's running a business is still contributing to the Canadian economy. And a small business can size up to 1 to 99 employees. So you can see for yourself, entrepreneurship can be a career path. It is a career path. It is a lucrative career path. And this is why we are here to really guide you and show you how you can become a successful entrepreneur, get to that point of contributing to the Canadian economy and maybe step into the large business. What I like about the graph is that you can see how the small businesses and the large businesses have the bigger portion in the economy. And that's usually where startups will begin. So they'll begin in a small business category and then quickly grow to become multinational, quickly scale up and jump into the large business categories because they probably reach the billion when they become a unicorn type of business. So get it in your head. Entrepreneurship is hard, but it's also very rewarding when you learn the tools to become successful. Again, entrepreneurship is really about practicing and creating, developing your own idea. And we're gonna dive into how you can make that happen. But the most important thing that you need to understand is really having the mindset. You don't become an entrepreneur just by just wanting to become an entrepreneur. There is a whole a learning curve. There's a process of understanding how it works. And today we are focusing on the mindset. You may wonder, okay, I'm talking about the mindset. What is it? What type of mindset entrepreneurs do have? And I'm just gonna take again another poll here. I just wanna see what you think about that and get your answers as per what type of skills or qualities most entrepreneurs or common entrepreneurs that you know have. So I'm just going to launch the poll and give you a few seconds to get your answers in. If entrepreneurship is not a personality type, then what makes an entrepreneur? That's a valid question. And yeah, I'm seeing the answers here. I will leave the poll again for a few more seconds to get your answer. Okay, perfect. I'm ending the poll. And wow, I can see few says 62% all of the above. Curiosity, that's great. Creativity, great. Passion. You're gonna see what are the most common characteristic of entrepreneurs when it comes to having a right mindset. So you are right, all of you, Bob. You need to understand that in order for you to uh, foster an entrepreneurial mindset, you have to be someone who's very curious, always questioning, why are things being done this way? Why are people, drawn to this type of trend, to this type of product? Why are people not drawn to this type of service or product? So you always have to question existing model, existing product, existing service. Maybe you are someone in your life, your friend will always call you someone very curious because you always come up with the next questions. When there's like a discussion, you always bring that type of question that people will be like, oh, I never thought about that. Wow, that's a great question. So curiosity is very, very important because you need to be someone who's interested to what's happening in your environment. Passion. Passion is a very great quality to have as entrepreneurs. You can see most successful people, even when you look at the stories, when you read the stories of successful entrepreneurs, you will notice that they were passionate. They were passionate about the change that the product or the service they were working hard to bring on market will do. So they were passionate about change, passionate about seeing people lives being changed, being transformed, bettering customer experience. For social entrepreneurs, you will see most of them are passionate about making the world a better place. Making the working to protect the environment, to protect the climate and stuff like that. So you have to understand that passion is really uh, a common characteristic among entrepreneurs. And if you are someone who's passionate about something in your life, you can even begin dive into that passion. Think about the reason why you feel the way you feel about specific topics in your environment. The third point is patient. Patience is extremely important as entrepreneurs because, yes, there is the opportunity to contribute to the Canadian economy, the opportunity to be successful, to run a multi-million business or maybe a small business, but still be successful. But it doesn't happen overnight. So the third point that you will have to think about as a person is patience. As an entrepreneur, patience is one of the core skills that many entrepreneurs have in common. And then the grit. It takes processes, it takes learning, it takes really being inquisitive, really you going for what you want. So those are the four common characteristic. Again, it's a it's a non-exhaustive list that I have here. There's many skills and characteristics when it comes to entrepreneurs, and I will invite you to dive in further and maybe pick one entrepreneur that inspires you and read their story, connect with their story, and really understand their personality and how they were able to build their empire. Characteristic of a mindset. So we talked about the skills earlier, and you may feel like, oh my, I don't think I'm a patient person. I don't think I'm curious. I don't think I have all these skills. But the beauty of the mindset is that you can grow. In my journey, I didn't started as someone who's very patient or someone who has a grit. I had that desire of, making a change and, bring something on market that where I saw a need. So it started with just me acknowledging a need and feeling that, okay, there is a potential here. But when it came to the mindset, I was not perfect. So don't feel that you have to be perfect. You have to have all these skills. It's not that way. You can grow them, take the right step to grow them. And I'm going to focus here on four characteristics of an entrepreneurial mindset. Ability to control self-doubt. It's very important as someone who is aspiring to becoming an entrepreneur to control the way you doubt. It's normal to doubt. It's normal to feel fearful. But when it comes to a point where it's breaking your confidence, it's making you belittling your ideas, belittling yourself, it becomes a barrier to you pursuing entrepreneurship. So one characteristic that you have to work on, that we have to work on, is to really control that section of being a human, being doubtful. Yes, I can doubt, but is it going to affect me? No. Is it going to hinder my career as an entrepreneur? No. Am I still going to ask people for feedback? Yes. So I will go past the doubt and really find ways to control that. The second point is resilience. You often hear entrepreneurs say they failed numerous times before running a successful business. So failure is sometimes a part of the journey. But when you look at failure as a way to really build resiliency, it does change your experience of failure. You become more resilient. You use that experience as a way to question your process, question your ideation process, question the different methodology that you use to first launch that business that unfortunately was not successful. So you begin to see failure as more like a resiliency muscle rather than a barrier stopping you to become an entrepreneur. So a third point is accountability. Yes, the business will fail for many. There is a recent study that demonstrated that 75% of businesses, of startups, fails the first year. So you have to understand that failure may be inevitable, but being accountable is a part of the process. What didn't you work on when you had the chance? Did you connect with the right person? Did you check the regulation? Starting developing type or launching a service? Did you, incorporate, did you get the legal advice? And we have a webinar for legal advice that I'm encouraging you for you to register to. So, and accountability is very important. You want to make sure that you question yourself. You take a self-assessment when something is not going the right way, when you experience failure. What is it that you can do better? What is it that you've done that was not so wise or successful? So that's another point to consider if you want to grow an entrepreneurial mindset. The fourth point is the willingness to experiment. Some startup will start off with just launching a product just to catch the attention of customers. They don't necessarily have the intent to turn that product into a whole business, but they really want to get some feedback and see if there is a potential out there of this to become a venture. So you have to be willing to experiment, willing to connect with customers, connect with family members, connect with the environment, and get feedback and present your product or present your service without having that expectation that people will say yes because I think it's a good idea. And having that experimental mindset is important, because if you get the no's, you don't feel discouraged. You can still take that as feedback and go back and work on your experiment. If you get the yes, you can take that as a validation and keep working on your next step. So those are the 4 points that I'm encouraging, everyone who's interested to become an entrepreneur to focus on. And it's not easy. Maybe you feel that that's not something that you can do. You don't feel as resilient. You don't feel as someone who can be accountable. Give yourself grace. Keep working at those things. And hopefully you will get to a point where you can finally say that you have an entrepreneurial mindset. We talked a lot about personality in this webinar, and we talked about curiosity, patience, passion. How do you get that passion? It only becomes clarity when you know your why. You know why you want your product to be on market. You know the change. You are really excited about the change that your product will make in people's lives, right? And it's very important to understand that section of the mindset, really focusing on why, focusing on what is it that I'm passionate about with regard to the product, with regard to the service that I want to introduce to the world. And one of the great exercise that I'm encouraging you to take, it's the personal SWOT assessment test. SWOT stands for strength. You want to know your strength as a person, as an individual. You probably, if you are a student, you're probably majoring or taking a concentration that's aligned with your strength. Maybe you love mathematics. Maybe you love to read. So taking that test, that assessment, will give you a nice, a clear picture of your personal, personality, your personal view of yourself as an entrepreneur, as a potential entrepreneur. So the weakness will be some areas where you need improvement. Like we've mentioned before, maybe you don't see yourself as someone who is curious or someone who is passionate about anything. Maybe you don't see yourself as someone who likes to experiment things. So in that section of the weakness, you can list all the things that you consider aspect of your life or of your mindset that you need to improve on. Opportunities in your environment, you will have opportunities to consider entrepreneurship as a career. Like you have this 2 o'clock center, we have our competitions, and those are opportunities open to you to apply for and really gain that momentum and grow if entrepreneurship is something that you consider. So that will be listed as an opportunity. The webinars, anything in your environment that is helping you moving forward as an entrepreneur will be considered as an opportunity. And a threat will be something that you don't have any control over, but still impacting your journey as an individual or as an entrepreneur. So most of the time I hear international student saying, I'm an international student. I'm not quite sure if because of my status, I can pursue entrepreneurship. So you will probably put that situation as a threat. But again, it's really highlighting different points in your journey that needs answers. It's not to see it as a stop to your journey, but really highlighting those areas where you will need to be a little bit more methodic. You will need to think about a plan. You will need to plan. You will need to connect with people to really see an end to that question or a solution to that question. So I'm inviting you to do a personal SWOT. If this is your first time attending a webinar on entrepreneurship, get to know yourself, get to know your strength, your weakness, and try to work around that if entrepreneurship is something that is an interest of you. There is a very great tool as well for personality assessment that you can find on BDC. It's a tool, a series of questions that you can take. There's a lot of tests on internet if you want to really take a look at your personality as an entrepreneur. And I encourage you to take some of those tests and find out what is it that you need to work on, and what are the positive and the quality that you already have to become an entrepreneur. So that's also a good thing to consider, that it's not all negative. You probably have a lot in there, a lot of qualities that can help you move forward. We talked about it. We're coming back again to self-doubt. It's important to understand that as an individual, as a human, you will feel doubtful. You will feel fearful when you come out of your comfort zone and start venturing into entrepreneurship. Uh, it's a normal reaction. It's a normal point to feel. But then how you are going to manage that, it's really what we want you to focus on. Are you taking proper steps to not allow doubt to stop you? Are you doing anything about that? And there's different ways You can try to control doubt. If you are someone who is very fearful, who is doubtful, there's still hope. And I'm going to clearly give you some tips to be able to navigate that. So if you are doubtful, if you feel that, I don't know, I don't feel confident enough to become an entrepreneur, one of the first thing that you want to do is to set clear goals, right? And we talked about that when we've mentioned that entrepreneurs are creative thinker. They are innovation driven. So what entrepreneurship will look like for you? If it's a product, if it's a service, what type of service would you be providing? What type of idea you feel connected to? Set clear goals. If you're an international student, we've mentioned that maybe for now I cannot get funding, but I can still get feedback on my idea. I can still connect with the ecosystem. I can still attend webinars. I can still participate to business competition, and set those goals with clear intention in your journey, with a timeline. The dates are already here on the website for the competition. So there is a timeline that you already know, and you can even set that as a goal. This year, I'm going to participate to a competition. This year, I'm going to connect with the venture coach. This year, I'm going to explore different ideas that I have. So set clear goals. The second point is to be decisive. If you don't take actions, it will never become a reality. Like the video said, start now. There's no wrong timing, perfect timing. You just have to be decisive. You just have to put in your calendar that, okay, today I will meet with someone. I'll meet with Karen. I'll meet with someone at the 2 o'clock center, and I'll start discussing my ideas or my next step. Define what success will look for you. You can feel intimidated when you look at others' journey, and you can feel that, oh, they were able to raise fund. In 1 year, they raised 1 million. Oh, now they're so successful. How about me? I don't think I can do it. But you have to define what success means for you. Maybe for you, success will mean to write a business plan and use that document as a solid document that you can now share with friends and family, potential investors, and that's a success on its own. Maybe a success for you will be to win a business competition. That's a success. So all these milestones should be celebrated, but you still have to define what success will look like for you as a student, as staff, wherever you are in your journey, and not compare to other people's success. Redefine failure. If you are sensitive with not being able to see your way through, this is a point that I'm encouraging you to work on. Redefine failures. Again, you have to see it as an opportunity to learn and not something that should stop you in your journey. Before I was able to launch the business with my sisters, we tried different things. We tried selling t-shirt with African print on them because I come from Ivory Coast, and I felt, okay, yes, there's a big community of immigrants. This is going to be great. There's a market. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. No one was buying the t-shirt. People didn't like the style of it, especially with African print. When it's cold, you can wear your African attire. So it wasn't, in my head, it was a great idea. So I went for it. But at the end, it was not a success. We had to, stop producing and selling the t-shirt and really think about a way to still serve the market, because there was a market of immigrant and people who needed something specific, but we were not quite sure what was that. So it was a failing experience, but we were able to see that as a learning curve. We were able to connect with people. That's very important. Even if the end goal, we didn't reach the end goal, we were still able to connect with people in the industry. We knew now that we need to register the business at the company's office. We knew that we needed to have a bookkeeping um, software that we needed to keep track. And this was a learning experience for us as first time entrepreneurs. And further in that journey, we were able to now launch a product that was well received by the customers. So redefine failures. There's always something to win from an experience. There's always something to win from an experience. Face your fear. It's all about, we're going back to being decisive. Face your fears. It's normal to feel fearful. It's normal to have all these questions and doubt, but you can still walk through that and keep advancing in your journey. Remain curious. And I'm inviting you to register for the next webinar, because we will dive into how to come up with a business idea. Um, Curiosity is very important as entrepreneurs. You have to question things. You have to always think about how certain situations are impacting people or impacting yourself, and question how things are being done. Years ago, there wasn't, I'm always thinking about the filters. That's my number one goals. There wasn't filters on social media. And then people were curious about, oh, how about we do some stuff that can make people look prettier, that can animate their feed, that can make them create like an atmosphere and stuff like that. And it came from really being curious and playing around with different stuff. And now everybody has filters, and I know a lot of people not showing up um, because they're questioning how they're gonna look on their feed if they're not using filters. So it's very important to be curious, to challenge yourself, to think outside of the box, and to talk to other entrepreneurs. This is a part of the journey, to talk about other entrepreneurs. I feel I'm having a little bit of a internet issue, but if everything is good for you, let me know in the chat, so I can continue the webinar. But we are almost wrapping up our webinar today. Now I'm gonna focus for them to understand that. Just gonna take a moment here just to make sure that you guys are still able to hear me, because I'm experiencing some technical difficulties. Let me know in the chat if you are not able to hear me properly. Okay, so I'm still going to continue with the webinar. I'm not seeing anything in the chat so far in terms of network issue. So let me know if you are not able to hear me or anything. Okay, perfect. So I'm just gonna continue and wrap it up. I'm not quite sure, we are having some difficulties, but I'll continue with the webinar. I'm just gonna quickly wrap up just because I'm experiencing some difficulties with my equipment here. The takeaways for today: entrepreneurship is a career path to, like we mentioned, it's a lucrative business. We want you to give you the opportunity to explore entrepreneurship. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at the Stoklak Center. And we've talked about the mindset today. It is so important to understand that being an entrepreneur is all about growing that mindset, um, facing your fears, controlling doubt, being someone who's curious, being willing to experiment and really get your creative mind working. Um, and you have to also think differently, always ask why, embrace failure, like we've mentioned. Do not let failure stop you in your journey. You have to take failure as a learning experience, as there's always something to win, there's always a connection to make. And being able to control self-doubt, holding yourself accountable, being resilient, all of the things that we talked about that makes up the entrepreneurial mindset, are things that you can work on your everyday. Um, Look at trend, connect on people, connect on LinkedIn with people, read articles, get to know what's happening in the business world. If you have interest in a specific industry, get to know, to learn about the regulations in that industry, licensing, permit, and all of this information is accessible to all of us through social media, through internet. Make sure that you really grow that mindset of being someone who's driven by change, innovation, technology. Connect with your why as an entrepreneur. Why do you want to launch a specific product? Why do you want to, service people in a specific industry? And really try to grow that passion, connect with people with that passion, and work your way up to becoming an entrepreneur. You don't have to, be a born entrepreneur or graduate with a business background. Entrepreneurship is open to everyone. And it's the beauty of that career is that there's no specific moment to start. There's no specific skill set that you need to have, but it's growing as an entrepreneur will help you become a leader, help you become an entrepreneur, help you become, someone who brings change in your community and beyond. So grow your mindset and keep exploring your entrepreneurial journey. I'm just going to wrap up the webinar because I feel my connection is a little bit slow. But if you have any questions, feel free to use the Q&A to ask your questions. And yes, I'm just going to wrap up for today. But I'm giving you guys a few more minutes to send your questions in the chat. Then this is the moment for you to use the chat to ask any questions. I will give you a few more minutes to do so. Okay, perfect. I think this is it for us today.